Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to our Easter sunrise reflection. Christ is risen. He has risen indeed. Hallelujah. It's a reading from the Gospel of Mark. When the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and brought spices so they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb, and they were saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb?" And looking up, they saw that the stone had been rolled back. It was very large, and entering the tomb, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, dressed in a white robe, and they were alarmed. And he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You seek Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has risen, and he is not here. See the place where they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." And they went out and fled from the tomb, for trembling and astonishment had seized them. Trembling. And they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. They were afraid. They were astonished. We've been celebrating Easter for many years now, with certainty, with joy, and with clarity. But as we see from the reading in the Gospel of Mark, the very first Easter was one of fear, was one of uncertainty. They did not know what was going to happen next. This Easter, we find ourselves in a similar predicament. Here we are on Easter Sunday, not able to gather. Here we are, worried about the future, not just of the disease and the pandemic, but the economic fallout. What's going to happen? So while this Easter will be the most unprecedented Easter likely in our lifetime, it is also, as Pastor Jeff Cloter said in his blog, likely going to be the most authentic Easter, because now we know how the disciples felt on that first Easter. We're experiencing that same fear, that same uncertainty, and that same anxiety. But just as the disciples waited and trusted for what was to come next, so are we now, in faith, trusting and waiting for what God is going to do next. I'm not sure if you know where we are, but you'll notice in just a minute. Follow me. You see where we are now? It's Annapolis Area Christian School, the middle school campus. This is where our church began almost 9 years ago. Back then we were uncertain. Back then we were anxious. We didn't know what the future was going to hold. But we trusted in God boldly, and He brought us through it to where we are now. So this Easter 2020, yes, it's unprecedented. Yes, it's hard. But like we did 9 years ago, we're going to trust in God boldly that He will bring us through this as well. Thanks be to God. Amen.